In this video, we'll spend just a few minutes to discuss the Facebook Analytics tool. And we'll spend just a few minutes because pretty much no one uses it. And why? It's because it's pretty bad. So they created it a few years ago. It doesn't really get the right updates and it's not very useful at all. But there are a few unique cases where Facebook Analytics becomes usable and useful, and I'll show you what these are just because we have to go through anything and everything. So you find the Facebook Analytics tool over here in your Facebook Business Manager under Analytics. Now the first and most useful thing that Facebook Analytics can do that any other analytical tool like Google Analytics or Adobe or anyone else can't do is they can integrate the information from your Facebook pages. And what they can do is they can also provide the information from multiple Facebook pixels at a time. Now, you can't do this anywhere else. This is the interesting part. And what you need to do is you need to create a business asset group. You can create one privately over here, or you can create them through the assets groups in Business Manager. That doesn't matter. But what only Facebook Analytics can do is combine the information from more than one pixel and from your pixel and your Facebook pages. Now, if your business has multiple Facebook pages, this becomes pretty much the only way to analyze how your entire business performs through these Facebook pages. And on Google Analytics, you will be able to see, for example, different sources and so on, but it becomes a lot harder to understand how your actual business pages relate to getting actual business. So let's make a private group over here quite quickly. We'll include one pixel that we don't use anymore just for the fun of it. Then I can kick it out. And then now you have this asset or asset group, and you can see the results from all of these sources together. This is quite useful sometimes, but the Facebook Analytics in general is quite bad. And so you can see stuff like, some highlights like the number of users, the revenue, conversion rate, and retentions and so on. And these are just kind of the standard dashboards that Facebook provides. You can, of course, expand them into full reports. You can find those reports over here in the activity and people sections, but there's no comparison to an actual analytics tool. I mean, anything like Adobe or Google Analytics is just going to do a better job at pretty much everything apart from having your Facebook business page information. And you can also include these over here. So now, I think if you go here through these reports over here, you can get some information, but pretty much you're going to get better information in any of the other analytics tools. Like if you take a look at the revenue and so on, you can pretty much use any other tool to achieve better results. Now, one of the interesting and cool things that you can do here is you can create easy funnels. I'll show you how to do that in the dashboard though, because we're just gonna save the time to do it twice. And then you can take a look at some of these things over here, but they're not very good. Now, one of the interesting things that you can actually do is look at your events, and those would be the Facebook Pixel events. And this kind of provides you a better view of the Facebook Pixel events over here. But the general practice that we often use is because all the other analytical tools are just better than Facebook Analytics. No one really uses Facebook Analytics to do their actual overall business analysis. And so generally what we do is anytime you send a Facebook Pixel event to Facebook ads, you want to send that same event to your analytics software or an analytics tool. That would be, for example, Google Analytics. So if you're sending a Facebook purchase event, then you should probably be sending a Google Analytics transaction event at the same time. And that includes all the other events like custom events, registrations, leads, and whatever. All of these it's just a general practice. So you can easily look at your Facebook pixel events here, and that can be considered useful, but it's generally better to use a separate analytics software. Now, one of the areas where Facebook Analytics excels is because they have such great information on the demographics of people, because they have Facebook accounts. The demographics report is a bit better than Google Analytics or even Adobe, but that's generally not enough to use the platform. So, for example, you could take a look at the different reports, let's say by language and so on, and those would be quite accurate. Also, the technology reports are as well a bit more accurate than some other platforms because Facebook just has better data on that. So let's show you the dashboards and end up with this tool, because it's really not very good. So now the cool part of the Facebook Analytics is that you can actually create your own reports, and they do provide all the information. It's just that it's not organized very well over here, but you can actually pull it out if you need to. So if you want to analyze all your business pages and multiple Facebook pixels at a time and look at the Facebook data separate from Google Analytics, that's completely fine. And you need to create dashboards for everything, however, because just the standard reports are really bad. Now, what you can generally do is approach it as a dashboard and kind of see how many purchases you got. Now, when you select the purchases, you can either say the unique purchases, let's say, and we want to get that KPI out, and then we want to add another one, and let's say that I want to add for example, the again the purchases, but this time I want to see the revenue, and you can add some other things like, you know, the add to carts that you got. Then maybe those are all nice and dandy, but you need to compare them to something. So that would be your page views, and you want to say unique number of page views or unique users. So let's keep it down to unique users in this case. And you can kind of build yourself a dashboard like that and say we got 173 page views. And then we had 41 add to carts, we had 6 purchases, and those 6 purchases brought $646 in revenue. And then you can add some additional charts. Now, of course, here you can add all of the crazy stuff that you can do. You can even add the breakdown tables that I showed you in the ads reporting interface. You can create pretty similar tables over here and have them at in a dashboard for a quick look. So that's a cool thing that you can do. I won't do that now because it's going to take quite some time. But another cool feature that you will find over here that is kind of difficult to create on other platforms is the funnels. So here you have all your funnels. So we can say, for example, that we want to see how our page views, like we can try and do kind of the same thing that we did before. So let's find the page views, and then we are going to add by using the plus over here. We want to say add the add to carts, and then we want to add the purchases, and then we want to add the purchases again, but we want to refine them. Not that that's going to make any sense, but yeah, let's just get rid of it and click save over here. So the cool part about this is that you can actually create these types of funnels and have a visual representation, quick visual representation of what happens over here. Now, that can also be done in other tools like Hotjar, like even Microsoft's Clarity, the new tool that came out, is better at this. Google Analytics has a better way of doing this, and so on. So this kind of gets pretty limited very quickly, but you can create some good reports. And the only useful thing that you should remember about this is that the reason to use Facebook Analytics is because it has the exact information from your Facebook pixel and Facebook business pages. But trying to analyze your overall website data through that tool is really not a good solution as of now. If that changes in the future, we are gonna update this video and kind of show you how to use that as an analytical tool, maybe as an alternative to Google Analytics. But as far as we can see, it's not getting updated, and that's not happening anytime soon. So yeah, sorry to kind of destroy it a little bit, but that's the real case. And you can only test it out and try it out and see if it will work for you. Maybe you can pull some important Facebook KPIs and some important information from your Facebook business pages, but that's about the extent that you should use this tool. And it's time for us to move on.